The great hall of the alien palace was silent. Too silent. Hundreds of beings stood inside it. Tall ones, scaled ones, ones with glowing eyes and metal skin. They were generals, nobles, guards, and priests. All powerful, all feared across many worlds. Yet every single one of them was afraid. At the center of the hall stood the alien princess. She was tall and beautiful in a cold, dangerous way. Her skin shimmered like dark silver. Her eyes glowed faintly, like stars seen through smoke. Long black hair flowed behind her like a shadow that refused to stay still. No chains held her. None were needed. Everyone stood far away from her, leaving a wide empty circle on the floor. No one crossed that line. Not even the royal guards. Not even her own people. Because anyone who came too close suffered. Some screamed in pain. Some collapsed. A few never woke up again. No one fully understood why. They only knew one thing. The princess was cursed. She is unstable, one noble whispered. She feels your fear, another said softly. That is why she must remain alone, a priest muttered. The princess heard every word. She always did. Her face did not change. She did not cry. She did not shout. She simply stood there, calm and distant, as if she were already used to being alone. Then the doors at the far end of the hall opened. A human entered. He was not impressive. No glowing armor. No weapon. No noble rank. Just a simple man in a worker's uniform, carrying a small datapad. His name was Elias. A human engineer brought to the palace to repair old systems no one else wanted to touch. He walked forward slowly, eyes down, following the path shown on his screen. The moment the guard saw where he was going, panic spread. "Stop him!" someone shouted. His walking into the circle. The human did not hear them at first. He was focused on his task, counting steps, checking signals. Then he looked up and saw her. The alien princess stood only a few meters away. The human froze. Everyone held their breath. This was the moment it always happened. The fear, the pain, the scream. The human felt it then. A heavy pressure in the air. His chest tightened. His hand shook slightly. Something deep inside him warned him to run. Every instinct told him to step back. Everyone else already had. "Move!" a guard shouted. "Get back, human!" The princess watched him closely. She expected it. They always ran. The human swallowed hard. He felt fear. Real fear. His heart beat fast. His mouth was dry. But he did not move. He stayed where he was. The hole exploded with noise. Is he insane? He will die. Pull him back. Several guards rushed forward, but stopped at the edge of the circle. None of them crossed it. None of them dared. The human looked around, confused. I was told to stand here, he said quietly. His voice was calm, not brave, just honest. The princess tilted her head slightly. Interesting. She took one step toward him. Gasps filled the hall. The air grew heavier. Lights flickered. A low hum filled the space, like the sound of a storm waking up. The human's knees almost gave out. Pain brushed the edge of his mind. Not sharp, not deadly, just warning. He clenched his fists and stayed. The princess stopped only an arm's length away from him. No scream, no collapse, no death. The room froze. This had never happened before. The princess looked directly into his eyes. Humans usually could not hold her gaze. This one struggled, but did not look away. "Why?" she asked, her voice calm and dangerous. "Did you not step back?" The human blinked. "Because no one told me I could," he said after a moment. That answer shocked her more than fear ever had. Not courage, not love, not defiance, just duty. The guard waited for him to fall. He did not. The princess felt something strange inside her chest. Something tight. Something old. Hope. She turned to the hall. "Leave us." The order echoed like thunder. "But, Your Highness." "Leave." No one argued. One by one, the powerful beings backed away, eyes wide, fear heavy on their faces. Soon, only the princess and the human remained in the massive hall. The human finally exhaled. I can I can go if you want, he said carefully. The princess studied him. No, she replied. You will stay. The doors closed, and for the first time in many years, the princess was not alone. The doors of the great hall closed with a deep, heavy sound. Silence returned. Only two beings remained inside the vast chamber. The alien princess stood still, her glowing eyes fixed on the human. The human stood where he was told, his back straight, his hands at his sides. He did not know what to do next, so he did nothing. That, somehow, made everything worse. You are not afraid, the princess said slowly. The human swallowed. I am afraid, he replied. Very afraid. That answer surprised her. Most lied. Most tried to sound brave. Then why are you still standing? She asked. He thought for a moment. Because fear is not the same as moving, he said. And because running never helped me before. The princess felt the strained pressure in the air soften. Not disappear, but weaken. She walked in a slow circle around him. Each step should have caused pain. It did not. The human felt the pressure again, like heat from a fire that did not burn. His breathing grew heavy, but he stayed on his feet. Sweat formed on his forehead. He did not scream. Interesting. You know who I am, the princess said. Yes, he answered. Everyone knows. And you still came close. I was ordered to, he said simply. She stopped in front of him again. If I order you to leave, will you run? He looked up at her. Yes. That honesty hit harder than bravery. The princess turned away, her long hair moving like dark smoke. She walked toward the tall windows that looked out over the city. They call me cursed, she said quietly. They say I destroy those who come near me. The human did not interrupt. They say I should be locked away, or killed, or used as a weapon. She clenched her fist. I do not want any of those things. The human took a slow breath. Then what do you want? The question echoed. No one had asked her that in years. She turned back to him. I want someone to stand near me without fear controlling them. The human nodded slowly. I can't promise that, he said. Fear always shows up. Her eyes narrowed. But, he continued, I can promise not to let fear decide everything. The air shifted. For the first time, the princess felt her power respond differently. Not sharp, not wild, stable. She stepped closer again. Very close. The human's vision blurred for a second. His heart raced. Memories flashed in his mind. Dark places, lost friends, moments where fear ruled him. He clenched his jaw and stayed. The princess reached out. The hole itself seemed to hold its breath. Her fingers stopped just short of touching his chest. Does it hurt? She asked. Yes, he admitted. Then why are you smiling? She asked. He noticed it too and quickly wiped his face. Because it hurts less than I expected. The princess laughed. A real laugh. Soft, short, almost broken. The sound shocked both of them. She pulled her hand back quickly, as if surprised by herself. Outside the hole, guards listened in terror. They waited for screams. 4 alarms. None came. Inside, the princess straightened. You will stay near me, she said. Not as a prisoner. Not as a servant. The human blinked. Then as what? She hesitated. As proof, she finally said. Proof that I am not a monster. The human nodded. Okay. Just like that. Too easy. Too human. She studied him carefully. You trust very quickly. He shook his head. No. I just learned that some things are worth standing still for. Something deep inside her shifted again. The princess walked past him and raised her voice. Guards! The doors opened slowly. The guards stepped in and froze when they saw the human still alive. Spread the word, she said coldly. The human stays. But your highness. Anyone who tries to remove him, she continued, will answer to me. No one argued. The human felt every eye on him as the guards backed away again. When the doors closed once more, he exhaled deeply and leaned slightly against the pillar. Are you all right? The princess asked. I think so, he said. Might need a chair soon. She almost smiled again. Almost. You are different, she said. He shrugged. I'm just human. That was what frightened her, because humans were fragile, and the Empire would not allow this to continue. Far away, in the darker parts of the palace, whispers were already spreading. The human was too close, too important, too dangerous, and someone decided he would not survive the night. The palace did not sleep that night. Lights stayed on. Guards whispered in corners. Cameras followed every movement of the human who now walked beside the alien princess. Elias felt it. The eyes, the fear, the anger. He stayed close to the princess as ordered, walking a few steps behind her through long halls made of dark crystal and living metal. The air around her still felt heavy, but it no longer crushed him. Instead, it pressed gently, like a warning, like a test. Your heart is calmer, the princess said without looking back. Elias was surprised. You can feel that? She nodded. My power reacts to emotions. Fear makes it sharp. Panic makes it violent. And now? He asked. Now, she said slowly, it listens. They stopped at a high balcony overlooking the city. Towers stretched into the night sky. Flying ships moved like quiet stars. This is why they fear me, the princess continued. Not because I want to hurt them, but because I reflect what they bring near me. Elias leaned carefully against the railing. So the curse isn't really a curse. Her eyes hardened. It began as one. She closed her eyes, and the world seemed to fade. Years ago, the princess was still a child. Young, curious, lonely. Her power awakened early. Too early. The first time it happened, she was scared. Her fear exploded outward. 3 servants collapsed in pain. After that, people avoided her. The more alone she became, the more afraid she felt. The more afraid she felt, the stronger the power grew. Fear feeding fear. A loop that never ended. They taught me control, she said quietly. But never trust. Never closeness. Never warmth. Elias listened without interrupting. I learned to stand alone, she said, because alone meant safe. For them. He looked at her. Really looked. You were protecting them, he said. She opened her eyes slowly. They never saw it that way. Below them, a ship passed silently. Elias felt anger rise in his chest, not toward her, but toward the Empire. The air around them trembled. The princess noticed at once. Careful, she warned. He took a slow breath. Let it go. The air settled. She stared at him. You are learning. Had a lot of practice, he said quietly. She studied him. You have known fear for a long time. He nodded. On my world, fear is common. War, loss, failure. She turned fully toward him. Tell me. He hesitated, then spoke. He told her about broken cities, about friends who didn't come back, about nights where fear sat beside him and refused to leave. I learned something, he said. Fear never leaves, but you can choose whether it leads. The princess felt something warm spread through her chest, something she had never allowed herself to feel. Understanding. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Alarms did not sound, but something was wrong. The princess stiffened. Someone is near. Elias felt it too. The pressure sharpened. Not from her. From outside. Figures moved in the shadows below the balcony. Silent. Armed. Assassins. They fear what I represent, the princess said calmly. And now they fear you. Elias straightened. Then they'll come for me. Yes, she said. He took a step forward. Without thinking, he placed himself between her and the darkness. The princess froze. Move, she ordered sharply. No, he replied. The air exploded with energy. The assassin struck. A bolt of energy flew from the shadows. Elias reacted on instinct. He grabbed a fallen shield from a nearby guard post and raised it. The blast hit. Pain shot through his arm. He cried out and fell to one knee. But the attack did not reach her. The princess screamed, not in fear, in rage. Power surged from her like a storm. The air twisted. The shadows screamed as the assassins were thrown back, their weapons torn from their hands. They fled. Silence returned. Elias collapsed forward, breathing hard. The princess rushed to him. She dropped to her knees, royalty forgotten. "You were hurt," she said, her voice shaking. "I'm fine." He lied badly. She placed her hand near his shoulder. Carefully, gently. Her power did not harm him. It steadied him. Her eyes widened. "My power," she whispered. "It is not hurting you." Elias looked up at her. "Because I wasn't afraid of you." That was the moment she understood. The curse was not her power. The curse was the fear others carried into her presence. And the human had broken the cycle. Far away, deep in the palace, the enemy watched the recordings. The princess was changing, and that could not be allowed. The next day, the palace felt different. Not loud, not angry, cold. Elias noticed at the moment he stepped into the main corridor. Guards stood straighter than usual. Their hands stayed close to their weapons. No one spoke unless necessary. Fear was back, and fear always changed things. The alien princess walked beside Elias, her face calm, her posture proud. But inside, she felt a shift too. Her power stirred, reacting to the tension around them. "They are planning something," she said quietly. Elias nodded. "I can feel it." That surprised her. "You feel it too." He looked around. People act different when they decide someone must go. She did not ask how he knew. They entered the royal council chamber. Tall pillars reached the ceiling. A half circle of council members waited, their faces hidden behind glowing masks. None of them stepped forward. "The human should not be here," one voice said. "He is a risk," said another. "He weakens her," a third added. The princess stepped ahead of Elias. "He strengthens me," she replied firmly. Silence followed. Then the High Counselor spoke. "Your Highness, the Empire cannot survive uncertainty. Your power is too great. Your bond with a human makes it unstable." Elias felt anger rise again. He forced it down. "What you call instability," the princess said, "is control." The council did not agree. "We have made a decision," the High Counselor said. "For the safety of the Empire, the human will be removed." Guards moved. Elias stepped forward instantly. "No," the princess said sharply. Her voice echoed with power. The guards froze, but only for a moment. Then one of them activated his weapon. Everything happened fast. A stun blast flew toward Elias. He did not think. He moved. He pushed the princess back. The blast hit him in the chest. Pain exploded through his body. He crashed to the floor, gasping for air. "Elias!" the princess screamed. Fear slammed into her like a wave. The room shook. Lights shattered. Pillars cracked. Energy burst outward, throwing guards and council members against the walls. The princess lost control. Screams filled the chamber. "Stop!" Elias shouted through the pain. She froze. Her breathing was wild. Her eyes burned bright. "I'm here," he said weakly. "I'm still here." She dropped to her knees beside him. Her hands shook as she hovered them over his chest, afraid to touch. "You are dying," she whispered. "No," he said, forcing a smile. "Just badly hurt." The guards slowly stood again. Some were afraid. Others looked determined. The High Counselor rose painfully. "You see," he said, "this is why he must be removed." The princess stood. Slowly, calm returned to her face, not cold, but clear. "You attacked under false peace," she said. "You harmed someone under my protection." "This was for the Empire," the counselor replied. She looked at Elias, then back at them. "I will not be your weapon anymore." The words hit harder than any power blast. "You cannot leave," someone shouted. "You belong to the Empire." She raised her hand. "No," she said quietly. "I chose to stay before. Now I choose to leave." Gasps echoed. "You would abandon your throne?" the counselor asked. She nodded. "Yes." She turned to Elias, gently lifting him to his feet with support from her power. Controlled, careful. "We are leaving," she said. Alarms finally screamed. Doors slammed shut around them. Guards blocked every exit. Elias leaned on her shoulder. Guess they didn't like that answer. She almost smiled. They ran. The princess used her power to open paths, bending metal, pushing enemies aside without killing them. She refused to let fear rule her again. Blasts followed them through halls and stairways. At the hangar, a small transport ship waited, their only chance. As they reached it, a final squad appeared, weapons raised. Elias stepped forward again. "No," the princess said firmly. "Not this time." She moved ahead of him. She faced the guard without anger, without fear. "I will not hurt you," she said, "but I will not stop." The guards hesitated. Fear faded. Their weapons lowered. The path cleared. They boarded the ship. As the doors closed and the engines ignited, the princess looked back at the palace, the only home she had ever known. She felt no regret, only relief. The ship lifted off into open space. Elias collapsed into a seat, exhausted. "You chose exile," he said softly. "I chose freedom," she replied. Stars stretched ahead of them. Behind them, the Empire burned with anger and swore they would hunt her down. The stars outside the ship were quiet. Too quiet. The small transport moved through deep space, far from the Empire, far from the palace, far from everything the alien princess had ever known. Inside the ship, only soft engine sounds filled the air. Elias slept. His body finally gave up after the pain and fear of the escape. He lay on a narrow rest bed, his chest wrapped in a medical band. His breathing was slow, uneven, but steady. The princess sat beside him. She did not sleep. She watched the human carefully, afraid that if she looked away, something would go wrong. Her hand hovered above his chest. Not touching. Never touching. Yet, the ship's system spoke softly. Life sign stable. She exhaled. For the first time since leaving the palace, she allowed herself to feel tired. Hours passed. When Elias finally opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was her. He blinked. "Am I dead?" She frowned. "If you were, you would not ask such a stupid question." He smiled weakly. "Good. I was worried." She stood quickly. "Do not joke," she said. "You almost died." "I know," he replied quietly, "but I didn't." That answer stayed with her. She helped him sit up slowly. Pain crossed his face, but he did not complain. "Why are you still here?" she asked suddenly. He looked at her, confused. "Hey, where?" "With me," she said. "You are free now. You could ask to be dropped at the nearest human station." He was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "Is that what you want?" She turned away. "It would be safer." "For who?" he asked. "For you," she answered. He shook his head carefully. "I don't think so." She faced him again. "They will hunt you. The Empire will not forgive what you did." "They already tried to kill me," he said calmly. "That part is done." Her eyes softened. "You do not understand," she said. "I have lived alone for most of my life. Everyone near me suffers." He met her gaze. "I'm still here." That was a problem. She stood and walked toward the cockpit window. The stars reflected in her eyes. "I chose exile," she said. "I expected to walk this path alone." Elias slowly stood, holding the wall for balance. "Then why did you save me?" She did not answer. "Why did you carry me onto this ship?" he continued. Still no answer. He stepped closer. "Why do you keep checking if I'm breathing?" Her shoulders tensed. "Because," her voice broke slightly, "because you should not have been hurt for me." He stepped in front of her. "I chose that," he said. She looked at him sharply. "You had no reason." "I had one," he replied. "You mattered." The words hit harder than any weapon. Her power stirred, but gently. "I do not deserve that," she said. "You didn't deserve what they did to you either," he replied. Silence stretched between them. Then the ship's system interrupted. "Warning. Empire scout signal detected. Long range." Her eyes darkened. "They are already searching." Elias looked at the display. "We can still run." She shook her head. "They will never stop." She turned to him, her decision clear. "I will draw them away," she said. "You will leave at the next safe point." "No," Elias said instantly. "This is not a discussion," she replied. He stepped closer. Then listen anyway. She hesitated. If you leave me behind, he said, they will chase you. You will always run. Always be alone. That is my fate, she said. No, he said firmly. That is what they told you. Her breath caught. I am not afraid of you, he continued. And I am not afraid of the Empire. That makes you reckless, she said. That makes me human. She stared at him. Then something inside her cracked. Stay, she said suddenly. The word surprised them both. Stay with me, she repeated. Not because I need protection, but because I choose you. Elias smiled softly. I already chose you. The ship shook slightly as it jumped to faster speed. Far behind them, Empire signals multiplied. The hunt had begun, but for the first time, the princess was not running alone. The warning lights on the ship began to flash. Red, fast, urgent. Multiple Empire ships detected, the system announced. They are closing in. The alien princess stood still in the cockpit, her eyes fixed on the stars ahead. Her face was calm, but her hands were tight at her sides. They found us faster than I expected, she said. Elias strapped himself into the co-pilot seat. His body still hurt, but his mind was clear. How many? Too many for this ship, she replied honestly. Behind them, space began to glow as enemy vessels jumped out of warp. Large, armed, silent hunters. They will disable us first, she continued. Then take me. And me? Elias asked. She looked at him. You will not survive captivity. He nodded. Then let's not get captured. She turned toward him. Elias, if they board us, I will lose control. I will destroy them. And myself. He met her eyes. Then don't face them alone. The first blast hit the ship. The hull shook violently. Alarm screamed. Elias was thrown forward against the harness. Shields failing, the system warned. The princess closed her eyes, focusing. Energy gathered around the ship, bending space just enough to deflect the next attack. But it cost her. She gasped, dropping to one knee. Stop, Elias said. You're pushing too hard. If I don't, she said through clenched teeth, they will take you. Another blast struck. The engines died. The ship drifted. Empire vessels surrounded them in a perfect circle. A voice filled the cockpit. Cold, calm. Alien princess, the High Counselor said. Surrender. This ends now. She stood slowly. It ended the moment you chose fear over trust. You have become unstable, the voice replied. Release the human. We may spare him. Elias laughed. The sound shocked everyone. Spare me, he said loudly. You shot me. You chased us. And now you're making offers. Silence, the counselor ordered. Elias stood up, unbuckling himself. No, the princess said sharply. Stay back. He ignored her. He walked to the center of the cockpit, opened the main channel, and spoke to the entire fleet. My name is Elias, he said. I am human. The silence that followed was heavy. I know you think she's dangerous, he continued, but she only reflects what you bring near her. Fear made her a weapon. Trust made her control it. Step aside, the counselor said. This does not concern you. It concerns me, Elias replied, because I chose to stand with her. He turned to the princess. This is the part where you hate me, he said quietly. Then he did the unthinkable. He opened the airlock controls. Elias, no, she shouted. He locked them. I'm going out, he said. They want a symbol. Let them see one. The inner door opened. Cold air rushed in. You will die, she said, her voice breaking. Maybe, he said, but not afraid. Before she could stop him, Elias stepped into the airlock. The outer door opened. He floated into space. Unarmed, unarmored, alone. The Empire fleet froze. The princess screamed as her power surged, but this time it did not explode. It focused. Elias drifted between the ships, small and fragile against metal giants. He opened the channel one last time. You're scared of her, he said calmly. I get it. I was too. But fear doesn't make you safe. It makes you cruel. Weapons locked onto him. The counselor hesitated. If they fired, the human would die, and everyone would see it. Elias spread his arms. If you want her, he said, you go through me. Seconds passed. Then something changed. The princess stepped out of the cockpit. She stood in the open airlock, power surrounding her like light. She was not raging. She was calm, perfectly controlled. Her voice echoed through space. Stop! Every weapon powered down. Her power flowed outward, not violent, not painful. Clear, honest. Every ship felt it. Fear vanished. The counselor's voice returned, weaker now. This is impossible. No, she replied. This is what you never allowed me to become. She reached out and pulled Elias gently back into the ship, using her power. He collapsed inside, breathing hard, but alive. She knelt beside him, pressing her forehead to his. You are insane, she whispered. He smiled weakly. You already knew that. The Empire fleet slowly backed away. They had lost, not to force, but to courage. And the princess knew everything would change after this. Space was quiet again, not the tense silence of fear, but the calm silence after storm. The Empire fleet slowly pulled back, their ships turning away one by one. No weapons were raised. No orders were shouted. They had seen the truth. Inside the damaged transport ship, Elias lay on the floor of the airlock, breathing hard. His chest rose and fell, slow but steady. The alien princess stayed beside him, one hand resting lightly on his shoulder. Not hovering, not afraid, touching, and nothing bad happened. You are alive, she said softly. Elias opened one eye. You sound surprised. I am, she admitted. I have never been able to touch someone after using my power like that. He smiled weakly. Guess I broke another rule. She helped him sit up, supporting his weight with ease. Her power flowed gently, steady and controlled. Outside the window, the last Empire ship disappeared into warp. They are gone, Elias said. Yes, she replied. For now. She guided him into a seat and sealed the airlock. The ship system slowly stabilized. Emergency lights faded to normal. The princess stood in the center of the cockpit, taller somehow. Not because of power, because of peace. They will speak of today, she said. They will say a human stood alone in space and did not move. Elias shrugged. I was very motivated. She looked at him. You changed how they see me. He shook his head. No, you showed them who you really are. Silence followed. Then the ship's system spoke. Long-range transmission incoming. Empire priority. The princess raised an eyebrow. They are persistent. She accepted the call. The High Counselor appeared on the screen. He looked older, smaller. We misjudged you, he said. That is not new, she replied. You are no longer classified as unstable, the Counselor continued. The Council proposes a return, with new terms. Elias tensed slightly. The princess glanced at him. What terms? She asked. You will rule freely, the Counselor said. No restraints, no isolation, and the human will be recognized as your chosen bond. Elias's eyes widened. The princess considered the offer. Once, this was everything she was denied. A throne without chains, respect without fear. She turned to Elias. What do you want? She asked him. The question shocked him. Me? He said. I don't get asked that much. She waited. I want you to choose what makes you free, he said. With or without me. She smiled. A real smile. Then she faced the screen. No, she said. The Counselor stiffened. No. I will not return to a throne built on fear, she replied. If I lead, it will be because others choose to follow. And the human? The Counselor asked. She looked at Elias again. He is not my shield, she said. He is my equal. The transmission ended. Elias let out a long breath. You just said no to an empire. Yes, she said calmly. You sure you're okay with that? She stepped closer. I was alone for most of my life, she said. Power surrounded me, but no one stood beside me. She placed a hand over his. Warm, steady, until you... He met her eyes. I told you, I'm not good at stepping back. The ship entered open space near neutral world. Blue oceans glowed below. Peaceful, unclaimed. We can land here, Elias said. Fix the ship. Decide what comes next. She nodded. Together. As the ship descended, the princess felt something she had never felt before. Not control, not power, belonging. On distant worlds, stories spread about the alien princess who was not cursed, about the human who refused to run, and about how fear ruled the galaxy. Until one human chose to stand still. Milky Way the end.